Candace Parker, a player many feel is the future of the WNBA.
We're gonna get a dunk here. Wow, Candace Parker.
Get that out of here! The MVP, LA Sparks, have slain the Mighty Lynx.
Chicago always holds a special place in my heart.
Candace Parker brought here to win a title. Mission accomplished! The Chicago Sky are champions!
You don't have to yell from the rooftops who you are. Let time tell.
And here she is, three-time WNBA champion, former MVP, and now studio analyst for Amazon Prime, Candace Parker in the house. So good to have you. Love watching you on TV, but so good to finally have you in studio.
Man, I'm so excited to be here in studio. It's beautiful, and I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, of course. I know I say you want to say hi before I jump in.
Hello. I mean, you could say hi. Hello, Candace. How are you? How you doing?
How are you doing?
It's doing great. It's great to see you. It's great to see you.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so Candace, obviously your on-the-court achievements speak for themselves. You have the Amazon Prime gig starting. Shout to my girl, Amina Hussein, by the way, love her.
Amina's great.
The book, The Can-Do Mindset, the babies, 2 jersey retirements, a lot's happening for you, yet you still decided to write this book and promote it. What motivated you to do that right now?
Well, I think first and foremost, it gave me something to do in retirement. You know, when I pressed send on that Instagram post, it was surreal. You know, I played basketball for 30 years of my life. And so to put the ball down, I mean, they say professional athletes have 2 deaths, right? And, you know, to go through putting the ball down, it helped kind of ease that right there, to be able to reflect on the career, but also from different perspectives. The motherhood journey alongside, I had my daughter at 22 years old, and she's kind of grown up with me throughout my career. And so being able to reflect on motherhood, on winning, on losses, on the struggles, on the triumphs, all of that, kind of helped ease that process and really be able to tell that story.
In the transition. Stephen A.?
Candace, knowing you the way that I do, you never do anything just for yourself. You never do you're one of the most thoughtful, beautiful human beings I've ever met. I have to ask you, when you think about this book and it coming out now, who else out there, not specifically, of course, in terms of names, but the climate, the environment that we live in, how much of a role did that play in you doing this book now? And what do you think people need to peel from it to help them move forward?
Well, Stephen A., first and foremost, just where women's sports is right now. The fight that we've had to have for so many years just to get our foot in the door. For so many years, it was women were judged on everything except for how they played. And I think I lived in a time where it was like, be strong, but not too strong, right? Like, be competitive, but don't talk junk. And so now to see the league where it's at, be where it's at, because the women have taken the reins and the women have been unapologetic in who they are and what they want to represent. We are, in our league, a majority of the minority in this country. And I think using our voices and obviously bring game to the court as well, and visibility, it's really exciting for me on the outside to see where women's sports in general is.
Go ahead, Molly.
Okay. I want to get back to the book, if you don't mind. I'm looking at the chapters, and obviously community and authenticity jumped out to me the most, because I feel like right now we're in a time, especially with social media, where there's a lot of copycat, and there's many blessings with social media, but it's very detrimental at the same time, the comparison game, all of that. And you talk a lot about authenticity and the bravery it takes, I think, to follow your heart and live your best life. Can you talk a little bit about that and what you wanted readers to take away from that chapter specifically? Because I applaud you for that. It's hard.
I appreciate you, and I think in the world where there's eyeballs on you at every moment, it used to be the camera would cut, you would go home, but now it's just consistent with social media and all of that. But I think comparison, you know what I mean? Just being who you are, setting your bar and trying to live to that. And I come from an amazing family at home with 2 parents that really instilled that mindset in all 3 of us at home. I have 2 amazing role models in my brothers. And so being able to have the support system has allowed me to be okay with being authentic. Sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right, but just being true to who you are and what you want to represent. I mean, you have to go home with you, right? Mm-hmm. You can't go home with all your followers or all the fans and things like that. So I had to be okay with the negative. I had to be okay with people not agreeing with my decisions or, just everything. And I think once you do that, it's just you're at a peace.
Yeah, and it's freeing, and it's your truth, but it still takes a lot of courage. So I think a lot of people will take a lot away from that. As far as the WNBA, what do you want to see, like, this next iteration? Where would you like to see the game go? Where would you like to see the league go? Because I know you talked about people focusing on, like, everything except the game, which can still tend to happen, you know, with storylines and characters, players in the W.
You know, I think the WNBA is so dynamic in its growth right now, in its reach. And I do want to commend, you know, the network of ESPN and ABC for the visibility of the WNBA. I mean, you look at where it started, honestly, you think about, you know, ESPN was the home of the NCAA tournament for years. The first time it was on ABC, I mean, it shattered numbers, record numbers. So really it's just about the visibility, and it's about putting it on television, and it's about knowing the players and establishing the rivalries and being able to have the merchandise. And so I think that it's so exciting for me to see that in the W, and I think that we can still continue to grow, but you can't go head to head with NFL every week. You can't go head to head with NBA playoffs. And so it's been nice to see that it's accessible. I think now with more games being carried and being able to be available to viewers, you're going to continue to see that growth.
When we look at the WNBA, whether we've speculated about resentment or whatever it is, ultimately it comes down to the fact that there were an abundance of women in the WNBA doing tremendous, tremendous work on behalf of the WNBA and the game of basketball, and you just sense that folks were feeling an absence of appreciation for what they had done and what their collective contribution was to bring the WNBA to where it is now and where it evidently is going. Can you speak to that collective frustration that some may have been feeling, and whether or not you think it's something that's being overcome as you all thrive and move forward and continue to promote and uplift this league?
You know, it's so crazy to me because I'm asked so many times if I'm you know, resentful in any type of way for where the WNBA is right now. My job was to leave the game better than I came into it. You think Cheryl Miller is resentful for me that I had a league to play in? No, she's being the mentor that she is, and she's supporting and loving and sitting courtside cheering on Juju Watkins. And I'm doing the same for Caitlin Clark and all the women in the WNBA. You know, I think that rivalry is super important. I think conversation is super important. You know, I tuned in when Kevin Durant went back and played Russell Westbrook, and they bumped shoulders and everybody was tuned in. But I want to keep it within the lines of the game. And I think that's what's the most important. Now everybody has a Twitter finger. Everybody can have reach to, you know, the WNBA and make comments. But really the key is let's keep it about basketball. That's my thing. And when we do that, then we're able to really grow the game and what it represents. There are some talented players that have been in this league. But now, because of visibility, listen, I still know the Dominique Wilkins. I still know, you know, all of those players, the Dr. J's and all that stuff. I don't think they're not salty that MJ came along and grew the game. I mean, that's what it is. And so I think that the WNBA as a whole is in an amazing place. Now it's about business to me. It's about taking care of business and making sure, I would like to see, and I'll say this in the CBA, I would like to see more roster spots, because we can't have 11 or 12 women on a team. You gotta, you know, lean into the player growth and you know, player development.
Absolutely. I love that when you started this off, you were like, oh, I needed something to do in retirement, so I wrote a book, but I listed off like 80 jobs, and now you're talking about the CBA and 3 children, the whole thing. And then you're in Chicago, your hometown, throwing the pitch over the weekend. Do we have that video, Quaco? There she is. You know, Stephen A. threw out a pitch too.
Did he? I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen
that
video.
Lord.
I haven't seen it. I don't think I've seen that
Mine
video
was a little
either.
bit more lofty, but I am a Rookie of the Year fan, so I was like, thinking about throwing the stinky cheese.
You were channeling it.
Yeah, I was trying to channel that.
You were
But,
channeling-
Stephen A.
What happened? What happened there?
What happened was,
Derek Jeter told me to use the excuse that I thought we were playing cricket. That's what I thought. I mean,
But see, here's the thing.
we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna hold on to that.
But here's the thing. The key is everybody tries to get up there and throw a straight. You got to throw above it. And I had to learn from experience because I dirted it with the Dodgers. You know, I dirted the first pitch. So, you know.
But Stephen A.
We'll do it again. Let's run that back.
Candace showed resilience. She came back. It's the can-do mindset. So you just let me know when you're ready to get back out there.
I'm ready.
Stephen A.
I'm ready, Nat. I'm ready now. I'm going to make
Yeah?
up for that. I'm telling you that right now. I'm going to make up for it. I know I stunk. I know it was a choke job. It was a choke job, Candace. I just choked. It's just that simple. Sometimes you got to be honest. You understand? We're talking to a former #1 overall pick in the WNBA draft, okay, in 2008. That's what we're talking to here. I'm not on that level. It's all right. It's all right. You live and you learn.
Exactly.
Next
it's a
time,
safe
Candace,
space.
I'm going to
It's
make up
him
for it. I'm
realizing
going to make
it
up
right
for it.
after the pitch.
Yeah.
It's his facial
bad.
expression
It's
after the
pretty bad.
pitch.
Stephen A., I think you have plenty of wins. You'll be okay. Candace Parker back here with us. That iconic W Finals moment was Chiney's sister, Nneka Ogwumike, winning the 2016 WNBA Finals
my
against,
teammate.
yes, the Lynx in a classic final series. And obviously, Candace, you know what it takes to win a championship. So looking at the NBA Finals right now on the Pacer side of things, huge underdogs, according to Vegas. What's the blueprint for them, you think, to shock the world?
Well, the dynamic of the way they've won in the East, of playing fast, the way that they've played all year has been fast, but they haven't played the Thunder. The Thunder just relish in the open court, open opportunities. And so I think the Pacers being deliberate about ball security, and sometimes that may be passing up, playing fast in that secondary to make sure that you control, because the Thunder come at you in waves, and they do it from the guard position. They flourish in the open court off of your turnovers. And so I think there's definitely going to be some type of conversation by Coach Carlisle about taking care of the ball.
Yeah, I agree. Taking care of the ball is important, but also taking care of those who have really done you right over the course of the years is more important to me, which is why I want to take this opportunity to give CP her flowers, because I know you guys saw those highlights. But honestly, you know, when my sister came into the league in 2012, we always joked that Candace was the fifth Ogwumike sister because of how she really embraced Nneka. And CP, you are a legend. The closest that I ever got to winning a championship was living vicariously through you and Nneka. I have already pre-ordered and got my book. We love you. We celebrate you. We appreciate you. You are a legend. And, you know, honestly, you are the standard. You are the standard. All right, now that I've gotten that out of the way, that's my family right there. I think CP is completely correct. If the Pacers are able to hold on to the ball and not turn over the ball, they will have an opportunity. This is a team, the Thunder, that literally thrives and feasts 20-plus, 30-plus points off of forcing turnovers and scoring off of them. That's what takes pressure off of them. So I do think that's going to be the most important key factor.
S.A.?
I have nothing to say. I mean, I want to listen to Candace and Janae. I'm enjoying
then I'll
it.
keep
You know what
going.
I'm saying? I'm enjoying listening to the ladies. Listen, it reminds me. I'm the youngest of 6. I grew up with 4 older sisters, and the opportunity for me to sit here and listen to the ladies going at one another, I'm enjoying this.
I don't know if they're going at one another, but
I meant it
keep
in an affectionate
peppering.
good way.
Listen,
I meant it in an
we
affectionate
got
good
Stephen
way.
A. speechless. This is
That's
Right,
what I'm saying. I mean,
this
I'm
never
good.
happens.
He's
I'm
in rare form
enjoying
today.
this. I mean, listen, I got my tea right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Y'all go ahead and talk when I need to chime in if necessary, which I don't think it will be.
Molly,
I'm right
this
here.
is rare.
But I
I
want
know.
to listen to
Rare.
more.
I know.
I want to listen to more what Shanae and Candace has to say.
Ultimate
The other
respect for Candace,
CP,
clearly.
the female
This
CP.
never happened
Let's
before.
get that out the way. Let's get that out the way.
All right,
Y'all
Candace,
go
I'm
ahead.
going to keep rolling with
Go
it then. So looking at the OKC side, what would a title mean for the MVP SGA's legacy?
You know, the thing about SGA that has always impressed me has been that SGA has been the same SGA, whether in 2021 when they only won 24, 25 games, or whether last year when he took the blame when they went to Game 6 against the Dallas Mavericks, and he was the one that kind of fouled Luka Doncic on that, or Mavericks player on that 3. And so with that being said, I love SGA because he is the leader that I would want as my teammate. He is that solid guy that whether he is 10 for 27 or if he is 12 for 18, he is going to give you the same amount of energy, effort, poise, calm. You know where the ball is going. You know he can get to his spots. That mid-range mastery, that bump fade right there you see, Aaron Gordon didn't even contest. He's that guy that you follow. And so his OKC teams, it's great in the locker room. Coach Dagnall has them playing for one another. They all know their role. And so SGA winning a championship, I mean, I think he's one of 4 or 5 players that can win MVP as well as finals MVP if they were to take home the championship.
S.A., I see you raised your
Well,
hand.
that didn't last long. Let me say this.
How about he
Let me
raised
say
his
this.
hand, though?
Listen. Here's the deal. He certainly looked like a different SGA in Game 3 when they got blown out by 4-3. I only bring up that point to say this. I love what you said about him as a leader. He's somebody you can trust, you can rely upon. His temperament is consistent. I get that part. But in a macro perspective, far beyond him, just to illustrate your point, because we're talking to a champion here, I want to say this. I'm not one of those, Candace, that believes that it's always good to move like this. Sometimes elevation is called for. Sometimes we've looked at great players and we said, do you not see the urgency of this moment? You just being regular ain't gonna cut it. You just being your normal, reliable self ain't gonna cut it. There's something a little extra that is called upon in moments, not just in the game of basketball, but in the game of life, with your wonderful book out right now. It's important, I think, that we recognize that being consistent with your temperament, being a reliable, trusting individual in terms of I can trust who you are is of pivotal importance. But there are moments in life where it calls for you to be a little bit more than you've been. You know that because you had to be more than you customarily was. The Candace that we saw during the regular season, the Candace that we saw sometimes during the playoffs, it was a little something extra at pivotal moments. Chiney, it's something little extra. I mean, all the great ones, we've seen it. You've talked to them, I've talked to them. You know it. They'll tell you, yes, your habits, your fundamentals, how you practice, what you do on a daily basis, personify and formulates who you are, et cetera, et cetera. But even in the aftermath of all of that, there does come a point in time where you must rise.